Bienvenidos a un episodio más de Rollos de Mujeres Podcast. Mi nombre es Ana Cruz y estoy súper emocionada por este panel que vamos a estar grabando el día de hoy. Welcome to another episode of Rollos de Mujeres Podcast. My name is Ana Cruz and I am very, very excited to be sharing these amazing Latinas in sports stories today. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to start introducing our amazing panelists. Pam Zuniga, born in Dallas, Texas, grew up in Carrollton. Welcome, Pam. Our second panelist, Lucia Morales. Lucia's passion for swimming started at a very young age too. She has represented Mexico in multiple national and international meets and broke several national Mexican swim records, and I had the pleasure to call her one of my best friends. Alyssa Taramona. Alyssa is an accomplished goalkeeper and her experienced head coach. She was hired in 2022 as the Texas Women's University assistant coach and has several recognitions through her career. Welcome. And we have Johanna Sanchez with over a decade of experience in coaching soccer. Johanna's focus is to guide and help young athletes to follow their dreams in soccer. Johanna is the founder of Skills for Soccer. Welcome, Johanna. And I want to know first about your own story, how you started in sports. Like, how did you discover your passion for soccer, Pam?
Well, to start, my dad kind of forced me into soccer. He just one day randomly told me, hey, you have practice. And I was like 5th grade. And I was like, practice for what? And so, yeah, I've been kind of just put me in the car. So we're going to Sunday practice and you're going to play. And I was like, okay. And yeah, after that, I don't know, it was literally game over. Like, I fell in love with sport and I just continued playing. So that's how I got into soccer.
Thanks to that.
That's my dad, yeah.
Lucia, how did you start swimming?
Thanks to my mom. She's from Cuba, so originally everybody in Cuba needs to swim because, of course, it's an island. She moved to Mexico City and then she was like, every one of my kids had to swim. So that's how I started my career. 8 months, baby, I started in the pool. And I've been doing that ever since.
Same thing with soccer. It's one of the first sports that you play. And so my dad signed me up for when I was where he was able to do skills and just kind of fell in love with it. And actually I have an older brother that was a goalkeeper. And so I was like, I want to do better than him. And so I did. So that's kind of where I ended up.
For me, I had, we always go to the park. So my mom played basketball, my dad played soccer, and I guess sports was always in the background. And there was a group of family friends that the girl wanted to play soccer. So I begged my parents, can I play? And I'd play. And, we're like, please sign me up. They paid for the uniform, they paid for everything, and playing my first game. I'll never forget. That was like my first life lesson. I got hit in the face. I knocked out on the ground, and I wanted to quit. Well, my mom gave me this very inspirational talk. She was like, you don't quit. So if you know soccer, swimming, anything, it's just you keep going throughout the whole season. So thanks to my friends, I got to play. Thanks to my parents for signing me up.
Now, coming from Latino families, being an athlete as a woman was not an option back on the days. And I bet a lot of you face many challenges to be in the sport that you love. I was talking to you a couple weeks ago, Pam, and you shared with me that there were so many sacrifices, not just from you, but from people that you love. Tell us about those challenges that you had to face as a Latina trying to accomplish your dreams in soccer.
Well, my dad, he would play every Sunday, so that was kind of like a routine of just playing. And then as I got into soccer, a lot of my sacrifices were the weekends because I had a lot of tournaments, always traveling. So, yeah, a lot of my sacrifices was doing that and just being motivated to continue and exercise and, start going to school and doing all that was just a lot as a young kid, I guess. So, yeah.
Lucia. For me, it was a little bit different. My home was very simple, very strong women, and my mom was always like, "You want to be a champion? I'm gonna help you whatever it takes." It was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of challenge. We're talking about 10 sessions a week of practice. 10 sessions. You gotta do doubles every day. You don't have weekends off. You don't have Christmas. You don't have a wedding. You don't have. I missed my best friend's birth. She gave birth, and I was in there because I was at a knee. So there's a lot of sacrifice, but I think it overbalances with all the good things you get from it, definitely.
So I think sacrifice is something that's overall sports, especially if you want to be excellent and be great at what you do. It's not about all the extracurriculars of what you're willing to do to get you where you want to be. And so, like you said, sacrifices of birthday parties, weekends, family events, traveling, vacations. You just do what you need to do in order to be able to achieve the dreams that you want to. And luckily enough, I had family going to grandparents even and aunts and uncles that were really supportive of that. So it helped motivate me along with all the sacrifices as well.
I agree with everything that they said. Basically, sacrifice as an athlete, you're a student as well. You want to hang out with your friends at the mall or whatever, go out. But I actually want to take a deeper dive and is a sacrifice that my parents made. Because my mom, she cleaned houses and my dad was a waiter. And for them to find that schedule to take us to practice, as a first generation, I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to be like a statistic and just not either play a sport or, get pregnant early or whatever. So yeah, I think sports really made me determined and dedicated to not just the sport, but to my parents' commitment for that.
Now, you brought out family, and many of you migrated to this country, or your families did it for you to give you better opportunities. I was talking to Pam too, and you were mentioning how hard your parents worked for your dreams and the sacrifices they made.
Yeah.
And you want to share a little bit about your family and the role they play in your career and also in your dreams?
Yeah, so my mom, she actually came to the United States also, how your mom, she cleans houses. So she at a young age migrated to the U.S. and then she had me over here, luckily. Yeah, they migrated away from, their hometown and they made it. They bought a house, not knowing how, not knowing English, no language, the language barrier there too. They sacrificed a lot. My mom, she cleaned houses just to getting shoes. My dad, he worked 2 jobs just, to basically put gas, in the car and take places. So yeah, they sacrificed a lot.
Lucia, I gotta say this because I know her very well, but in your case, your mom did sacrifice a lot too for you. And there were times during your career as a swimmer that she had to work really hard for you guys not to quit your dreams because your sisters were swimmers too. What's the memory that you have from your mom since you were little that she did for you to keep swimming?
My thing was a little bit different. I was born and raised in Mexico City, came back here 2010 on a swimming scholarship. So I'm very blessed to have the support of federations and etc. But during my Mexico time, it was really important. We were 3 girls. We're talking about swimsuits. Each one is $200, $300, 3 uses and it's gone. Let alone all the diet that we had to go through, the specialists. So it's a lot of extra money, and they really don't count on it unless you're there. God bless, forbid that someone gets hurt, because that's another 1,000 in the bucket. But I was very, very lucky. My federation was kind enough. They had faith in me, and I had faith in them. So I had a lot of support. And by the time I came to the U.S., again, I can stress this, if you have kids, put them in school on sports, because that's going to change your life. I was blessed to graduate with student loans. It's really important to be in sports if you're not. So my story was a little bit different, but there's still a lot of bank in there spent.
I mean, my dad was originally born in Puerto Rico, and when he was a baby, he came over. They lived in New York, and then joined the Navy. That's where I met my mom, was in the Navy, and so that's what brought us to Texas. But so the sacrifices and the hard work that he saw from my abuelito was just, you got to grind, you got to do what you got to do to put food on the table. And so I was fortunate enough to play multiple sports of volleyball, basketball in my high school, and then also play soccer. So what he would do he coached my teams. You know, he was the athletic director. He was super, super involved. So not only would he sacrifice the financial side, but also the sleep and the driving and the hours on the road in order to be able to help me be able to do everything that I wanted to do, and be good at it. And one big thing that he's always said was, you know, as soon as you don't want to do it anymore, just let me know. And so it wasn't just, you're a soccer player and that's it. It was, you need to do what you want to do to make you happy. And so I think that's a huge part of the support that I had.
Okay, and Miley, I know you asked her one question or another. What was the question again?
The sacrifices from your family. You say your parents had a humble start here in the U.S. And also you say your dad was the one taking you to practices. And what memories do you have from your childhood seeing your parents working hard for your dreams in sports?
Well, my parents, my dad, I don't know, I think he really wanted boys because he put us in soccer, but when we went to the park, we do basketball, volleyball, a lot of tag, a lot of running. But he, I don't know, just from work, he would work either at the weir or sometimes overnight at the hotel, and wake up early in the morning to take us to tournaments. So there was no option for me to not perform. I knew the sacrifices that they were doing, and now as a parent myself, I'm like, where's the coffee or energy drink or something? Because I have two of my own. He has his own activities, and now as a parent, I understand. But no, just my dad as well as my mom, like physically tired from her job, and I don't know, they just came here to give us a better future, opportunities. She mentioned a scholarship. That's huge, like a scholarship. I wanted to play professionally, didn't work out, but I had scholarships for education because of my grades. Thank God, because then I would be in a huge lot of debt, you know, for college. So yeah, I just had, as a first generation, I didn't think it was an option to not do my best for that.
For them. Now let's talk about your achievements, because we were just talking about not being many platforms for Latinas in sports to share their stories. And this is a great opportunity for all of you. And also we were talking about behind the scenes, that how humble we Latinas are sometimes, but also because we confuse being humble with being quiet and shy. They don't know about us. So let's pretend that you're gonna be talking about Pam, but you are not Pam. What are your biggest accomplishments in sports, Pam?
My biggest accomplishments is where I'm at now at Soccer Nations. I'm pretty high up there, I would say. And Jimmy, you know,
Alone.
I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry, and here I am. But no, Jimmy did. He gave me a big opportunity, texting me and, you know, offering me a job. And whenever I entered, it was customer service, and after that, I just grew within the business. This Susie, she's like a second mom. I've learned a lot from them, and Jeremy for sure. They gave me an opportunity to grow within the business, and without them, I really don't know where I would be right now. So I do want to thank them tremendously for basically opening that door. Hopefully in the near future, you know, I become part owner of Solid Innovations, and that's just human. So me, first generation as well, not knowing, you know, the business side of sports, it's huge. And I'm just very blessed and thankful for them for showing me the ropes and growing in something that I love to do, and that's, you know, soccer. So yeah.
Thank you, Pam. Lucia, tell us about your national championships, please, because we want to know, right?
I want to thank Tia. She was the first one to say, you're a national record holder. There's not a lot of people that can say that. And for me, I started in the pre-national selection when I was 12. And then I stayed at the national team until I was 23, 24. So for me, it was just like, well, this is what we do. We just go to international events and get medals. But then she's like, no, you're wrong. There's just a few people that can say that. And then I was able to do a record holder junior Central American Games. And again, for me, it's a medal. It's a record. But then when girls like this come together and they're like, hey, you're a Central American world record, like the world, I wish world, right? I'll just say it. And I would say all of that, I was telling this to my mom the other day, all the medals, all the records, it doesn't matter. If you're not paying off today with the skill that it gives you, what's the point of it? Nobody remembers me from when I touched the wall. Nobody remembers me. They remember how I make them feel, how far I made it. Right now, I'm a head coach for Legacy Christian, and that's a way for me to pay back all the things that coach has done. One of the member audience, it's nephew from my coach in Mexico. How small is the world? Like, we were talking, like, oh, my uncle is this guy. I'm like, you're kidding. He was my coach when I was 12 in Mexico. So the world is so big, so small and so big at the same time. And it's just all about accomplishments and how you keep moving forward.
Un fuerte aplauso, big applause for Lucia for her championship. Alyssa?
I came from a really small school, a private school, so I was actually the first person from that school to graduate and go play college athletics. So that was really cool, and being able to kind of pave the way for other athletes that wanted to go do that with other sports. And then I was fortunate, talking about scholarship, you know, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish anything if I didn't get a scholarship for both academics and athletics. So definitely proud of how that turned out. And in my time at St. Mary's, I am a record holder for the university with most minutes played, most career saves, most saves in a single season. And then honestly, all of that, from experiencing the different coaching styles to my experience as a player, definitely molded me into the kind of coach that I am, of being able to become a graduate assistant at my alma mater, and then being able to become a head coach, and then at the D3 level, and now assistant coach at the D2 level. And so, you know, I think all of the experiences with respect to the coaches that I've had the fortune of being able to coach me, and teammates and things like that, really allowed me to mold and to make me not only the coach that I am, but the person that I am. Because I don't think if I didn't have certain events that had happened, I wouldn't be on this stage right now. And so I'm definitely super blessed for all of that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see you back up of what he said at the beginning, that soccer was such a huge part of my identity. And I tried to walk on to the university as a first generation. I didn't know what that was or the process to play at college. So when I tried to walk on, it took me a few years to be like, it is what it is. But I say now that the coach had a different vision, and it didn't include me, which was fine, because actually it was like a bad thing and a good thing, because I didn't make the team. But that same year, the Houston Dynamo was in Houston for the MLS. And I told my dad I was going to go work for them, and I did. So I was part of their marketing team, and I was all over Houston. They had clinics, so I got to coach their youth clinics, and that's how I got into coaching. So I was with the Houston Dynamo for about a year and a half. I came to Dallas, and I worked for FC Dallas for, again, about 2 years. I still do their camps, so it's been about a decade. So Houston Dynamo, FC Dallas. I've worked for a lot of different youth clubs, DKSC, which was formerly known as the Feeders. Rush Soccer Club is the biggest soccer club in the nation. Actually, my husband's from Cameroon, so it's West Africa, and I got to coach a session out there. That was like the coolest thing ever. You know what else? trying to think. Oh yeah, I do EAR for SC Dallas. So whenever you get mad at the refs, please don't get mad at me. I don't make the decisions. I'm just part of the IT crew. So whenever the ref does that, he wants to review if it's a PK, foul, offside, all that good stuff. Trying to think what else. Oh, Olympic development program. So I help scout the top players in North Texas. So they represent North Texas in tournaments that they get to play in the region, or then also get identified to be part of the national team. So for me, if you would have told me as a 7-year-old girl first starting soccer, get hit in the face, that this would be me in the future, I'd be like, you're crazy, no way. I started a podcast when I was pregnant because I still wanted to be part of soccer, again, part of my identity. So yeah, just soccer.
Thank you, Aniso. Bravo. It's amazing to hear this story told by you, because you have to be proud of yourself and learn to share your story and not feel that it sounds too gacky, because you guys have been working so hard to be where you are at right now. But you mentioned identity, Johanna, and I want to come back with that question with all of you, because you spent your whole life doing a sport. And that was your identity, that was your life, that was all your time, that was your dream. But then you get to a point in your life where you have to switch careers, or you have to find a job in another industry. And I bet it was very challenging for you. And I want to know, how do you find your identity in the new you? Thank you so much for being at Rollos de Mujeres podcast today. I am very excited, celebrating the 3rd anniversary. This is the first time that we do a live recording with live audience. Woo! And what an amazing way to celebrate that, showcasing these amazing stories from these Latinas in sports that have been accomplishing so many things, but also they are sharing the challenges, the sacrifices, the discipline that they have put into the sport that they love. And speaking about identity, what happened once you had to stop playing your sport? It can be for another opportunity, for a job opportunity, for any reason. When did that happen? And how do you feel after changing your identity completely? Let's start with you, Pam.
So my identity for sure was, some soccer, just like how Johanna said. And once, college ended or the season ended, I was just like, oh my gosh, what now? What am I going to do? So I worked at Sports Authority. Now they went bankrupt, so they're not around more. But I was, just doing retail. I ended up going to the Real Soccer Center. They also went out of business. But I was still in soccer, I'm still in sports. And then after that, I went to say, oh my God, now what? And then June texted and was like, hey, do you want a job? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually looking for a job. So yeah, I went and, did my interview with Susie, and I got hired. And that's where I started as just a customer service rep. After that, I've been there for now going 7 years, 8 years. I'm not really sure. It's all a blur. But I've climbed that ladder in that business, and I'm up there, and now I'm kind of just like the office manager, kind of overseeing everything. We're a small business, so we wear a lot of hats there. I do everything from finances, just customer service, managing a team. Sometimes I go on the bags, package the boxes. But we're growing. So once we're a multi-millionaire business, we'll be, sitting back and just admiring that, I got there, we made it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one is a painful one for me. Again, I started swimming 6 months, baby. There, when someone was done, I was like, who am I? What do you mean I don't have to go to practice in the afternoon? You mean I can go to the movies after? Like, what's happening? I think you have to go through a grief process, which is really, really painful, because you put all this effort, all this sacrifice, the back and then felt your youth in some weird sense, because it's not worse to the other. So I was really trying to look for a job very relaxed. So like, I want to be barefoot. I want to be listened to all the time. So that's going to be my diet. And then by the time I keep 30, I'm 34. I'm like, this is not going to take me anywhere very far where I think I want to be. So I was lucky enough, I was like, okay, think about what you want to do. And I was lucky enough to find that position in premium services with the American Airlines Center. And something that I really enjoy because it's sports, it's people. I love people. My major is journalism, so I kind of did that. I can show sometimes. So I like that job because it's by seasons. We start in September. I know by April, hopefully the finals, May, we're done. And then I have the summer free. So it's a little bit similar of swimming. And I still can be around sports. But I do, swimming is my identity. I do teach for little kids. I'm the head coach. So I always try to keep swimming around me for some reason. I think it's part of me now. But yeah.
Personally, I think that's one of the hardest things that you can do of going from playing a sport or doing something for 10, 15, however many years of your life. And one day it's gone, whether it's you graduate or injury or just you decide to move forward. And I think that, especially now coaching college, like young women that are going through that once they hit their senior year, it's definitely a big conversation of knowing that you aren't your sport. You are more than that. You're not your accomplishments. You're not the performance that you just did. You know, you're more than that. You have a place, you have a purpose aside from those things. And so I know, at least for me personally, you know, transitioning from player to coach, you know, I still struggle with that because being a coach is all about execution. It's about results. It's about, you know, whether it's the game or what your student athletes are doing next or in their classroom or things like that. And so I think it's being able to remind yourself of all the things that you are as a person and what you can bring to the table aside from that sport specifically. But personally, I think it's not a topic that's talked about enough. I think it's something that isn't just, hey, go figure out who you are, but it's, hey, let me help you figure out this transition. Let's help about the next steps and how can we do this together, because it is a big mountain to climb, especially with a lot of players doing it whenever they're in such a formative time of life, whether it's between 18 and 22, even 25-year-olds. You know, you're not going to be able to play your sport forever. Like, believe it or not, it's not going to happen. You know, you're going to have to find a profession or something to do outside of that sport. And it's being able to have those conversations throughout time. So when it's time to hang up your boots, put up your swimsuit, you know, you are able to transition and have the skills to do so properly.
I still have my soccer cleats from college. They're like tearing in the front, but I think many of us, we aspire to play professionally or in college or at a higher level. And when, for example, for me, I tried to walk on, I didn't make the team, I was crushed. I was like, well, what do I do now? If I go to the gym, I gotta find a class, I gotta be part of a group or something. I totally lost my identity. But I think it's happened twice, or well, I guess 3 times that time. And then each time I had my kids. So I coach and I was pregnant and I was like, I'm scared to get hit in the stomach. Let me just stop this. So I did stop twice. And each time that I stopped, I realized that it was a heavy toll on me. It was like the postpartum depression. And I'm like, I need to still be doing soccer. I still need to be active on the field. So for me, even though I had my professional job and had to pay bills, soccer was always in the background, whether private sessions, group training, camps, soccer was always there. So, I mean, even if I wasn't a player, I still play co-ed adults. So if they're looking for a girl, I want to play as long as I can. But yeah, no, soccer's always been in the background, I think, for me, even if it's not as a player.
And thank you so much for opening up about this topic, because you say right, Johanna, when we do something for so long, that becomes our identity. And I don't do sports, but the best example I have is when we become a mom. And I know there are many moms here in the audience, right? Who is a mom here in the audience? There you go. So when we are moms, we completely lose our identity. So that's the best example I can give. And we go through depression. We go through a process to find who we are now after having a baby. And I'm very glad that you share your own experience, because all the athletes go through this, to changing identities. So thank you for sharing that. But also, I know athletes are the most disciplined people. They practice a lot. They say there is it's scientifically proved that practice is what makes you a master in whatever task you do, but especially for athletes. There are so many skills that you have as an athlete that open so many doors out there for you when you apply for a job in the workforce. So what are those skills in your cases that you think that give you the opportunities that you have today?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to YouTube University. That's literally anything and everything that I learned, especially Jeremy as well, and Yasuli, because that's, they taught me a lot. But let's see. I'm kind of just like, can't say it really. Can you repeat the question?
What are the skills that you learn from sports that help you to find a job and to be who you are right now in the workforce?
Oh, well, like from playing sports, you have to be very driven. You have to sacrifice a lot of your time and sorry, I'm going blank. So live.
That's it. All right. I want to be careful because I'm surrounded by soccer girls here. But I don't want to say swimming is the best sport. I think swimming it's great because you're swimming for yourself, but at the same time you're swimming for the team. So I think that gives me a very personal competitiveness that I want to be the best, but I also want to be everybody to be the best. And I'm always trying to, American Airlines is teamwork, excellence, integrity. We have one word with my boss last year, thank God. But we have business with the same values. And it was very important for me to find a company that I could relate with that. But I do believe once you're an athlete, you have this sense of community that is different from everyone else. And sometimes I see people that don't do, I'm not judging, if they don't do any sports or anything, if they're so close, they're like, I'm just getting a late paycheck. I'm like, no, what can we do to make this better? We're here for a reason. Let's just try to make everybody win. I know it's like a rainbow story, but I do believe it happens. But yeah, overall, again, patience, a lot of patience, integrity, it gives you a lot of extras that it's good to have.
I would probably say teamwork, being able to work with others, collaboration, especially in a team sport. You gotta be able to use your strength to highlight other people's strengths. And then obviously there's a lot of really hard things in the sport, whether it's sacrifice, maybe not performing to your best, you're injured. So being able to overcome obstacles and have that resiliency and, like Pam said, that determination, that drive to accomplish what you want. A lot of employers love athletes because of all those things, and then definitely water.
I think two big things for me is being coachable. I think that regardless of what job that you go to or career you choose, you're going to have a manager that you like or don't like. So you have to be coachable and adapt to that. Also, I'm very competitive. I hate to lose. So whether it comes to at recess, like I said, avoid telling me, no, I can't play. Yes, I can. Junior high, there's no soccer team. Create one. In college, there's a women's team. There's 40 guys, but 1-2 girls. Like, we need a girls team. So it's that persistence, that hard work, like you said, teamwork. Also, being a player. So you handle the coach. You're like, okay, I need a defender, the middle, and a forward. I only play defense. Okay, the team needs this. Like, I need you up there. So you need to be able to adapt to whatever gets thrown at you in life and in the workforce.
I love it. I love it, Johanna, because we know there are no opportunities in many cases, but what an amazing thing when you create those opportunities on your own, especially being a woman, especially in sports. What do you wish was different in sports according to your experience? And let's speak up as a woman, as a Latinas too in this question.
I think there needs to be more women coaches out there for sure. Alyssa, props to moved and dance and everything. We're going to sign a lot of young girls, and that's something that you can do. You could be a head coach. You could manage all these teams and be up there just as well as male coaches. So that's what I want. Something that needs to be changed. So.
You see that? I would like to see more support on the transition. That part is extremely painful. Nobody talked about it. I remember the other day getting so turned up because someone said, "How come Michael Phelps did it press?" And I just stood there and I was like, yeah, he's a president, billions of dollars. But what about all the other people that didn't make it that far? I went to the Super Bowl, maybe someone recommend. But all these athletes that went through all the process, and then when it's like, okay, it's done, go be a grown-up. We do have a lot of talent and things to do for the world, but I wish there was more, a different transition of, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then, yeah, I'm letting girl bosses around everywhere.
I want to piggyback on what Pam said. Definitely more females in the sport, even like females coaching male sports, and then male-dominated field. It's definitely it can be very challenging if you're surrounded by one female every 10 coaches. If you go to a sport, whether recruiting event or something like that, you might say a handful of women, but majority men. So definitely being able to empower our fellow coaches, not try and compete with each other, but build each other up. But then also even inspiring the young women that you might see something in them. I went to a conference with We Coach. It's an organization for all female coaches of all sports, every level. And they were saying, we talked about being able to empower these young women, and that's how you become coaches. If you speaking that, hey, you would be good at this. And a lot of the coaches in that room, someone spoke that over them, and then they became a coach. So being able to not just put it to the side, but recognize who has that talent, who would be successful in the field, and be able just to nurture and empower and try to be that mentor to them.
They all give great answers. I think for guys, it's very like, okay, it is what it is. We're used to this. But for girls, let me tell you how we've had boy hand-me-down uniforms. So let's start there. Women's cut jerseys and shorts. No white shorts, please. Recently, they came out with some cleats that women have more, teenage girls get more ACL injuries. They created a cleat or designed a cleat that at the bottom is made for women because our body is different. I don't know if you guys knew that, so that was pretty cool. And then something I didn't think about until I went through it myself was being a mom. So got pregnant twice, maybe more athletic gear for a belly stick. But you see the professional athletes. I don't think I see many return to the national team after having kids. Maybe Alex Morgan, Sydney LaRue, and Crystal Dunn did, but maybe more support for them because they come back 3 months on the field after getting a baby. And let me tell you, it's not easy, whether it's training over or anything else, whatever you go through. But yeah, maybe more support as a coach or a player, resources for the ones that have kids stepping aside for a bit.
Yeah. I'm really lucky that creates us an opportunity to also thank all the men that show up today because this doesn't work if it's a conversation within women. And that's what we do when we get together as friends, as a group of friends. We talk about the needs that we have, the fashions that we have, but if there are no men out there listening to us, this isn't going to work. If there is no other women out there with positions that can help us, this is not going to work. So thank you so much to all the men that show up today and to the ones that are watching this video on YouTube and listening to this episode. Ladies, I am so inspired. You give me goosebumps. I am very, very touched and I'm very motivated to start doing a sport too. But also, I am so blessed to have you today in my podcast and to have you today in this event from Adelante, Texas. And thank you so much for sharing from your heart, your accomplishments, your challenges, but also what is in your heart. Thank you so much for being alone to help me. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to start with another panel soon. We are going to come back. But remember to follow us in social media at Rayos de Mujeres in all the platforms. Listen and download to the episode in all the podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, TuneIn, and Alexa. And also give us a review. My name is Alexa. See you next time.